Okay, board members, let's move to agenda item 11. This is a general consent calendar. So is there items that need to be pulled from this? Member Bogus.
4 from the contracts, please.
3 and 4 from the contracts.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
And since nobody else wants to do it, I would move that we approve the remainder of the consent calendar.
We have a motion to approve and a second to approve the remainder of the consent calendar, subtract items 3 and 4 from the contract. Let's go ahead and vote. That passes 14 in favor, 1 absent. There are two items pulled from the consent calendar. Are there any motions? Vice Chair Hart.
Hold on. I move that we approve the contract.
I don't know. Yeah.
Where's 3? The contract for the Utah Fits All program with, looking for the contractor. Primary class doing business as Odyssey.
That's just the 4th one?
Yeah, right? Number 4.
So the motion that has been made is to approve the contract with primary class DBA Odyssey. Do we have a second to that? We have a second. You want to speak to that, member or Vice Chair Hart?
No, I'm very confident that our staff went through a rigorous RFP process, and I honor that process and look forward to working with Odyssey.
Thank you. Member Booth? Thank you. Member Lear.
I just wanted to note that though I've talked this over with the AAGBL, and though I am a plaintiff in the lawsuit opposing this voucher program, I believe the program has been allowed to continue by the judge, and I don't feel I have any conflict in conflict in making an objective decision as one vote on this board in approving or not approving the contract. So I just wanted to note that for more of a public perception reason.
Thank you. Member Carey.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of education choice, and I think we have to find the right fit for the students, but I'll be opposing this motion. I don't believe it's been very transparent. I have questions that have not been addressed or answered, and as Member Booth says, we should have those answers answered before we move forward. But it's my understanding that the motion we're making now and are asked to vote on is to approve the contract. So all those discussions would come after the approval of the contract, which seems backwards. And because of that, I'll be voting against this motion. Thank you.
Member Earl.
I mean, I don't know who sat in on the vetting process for these. I just wonder, and that's why I just asked Board Member Booth how long ago that the contract was let go in the state of Idaho, and it sounds like it was 6 months. It's been pretty recent, and I wondered if there were calls to some of these other states to ask where the hiccups have been with this, or you know what I mean, if there's been any hiccups or what's run smoothly. I'm just curious if there's anything there. I know we need to get someone in place so we can, you know, get going on it, but I'm just curious if what feedback we've got in the, you know, evaluating, not Odyssey telling us what they're going to do and who's going to, you know what I mean, but whether there was what kind of engagement with some of these other states, if they've been able to kind of whittle down some of those things. So,
Member Brenton.
Yeah, I also think I'll be voting no on this with how quickly we didn't have the contract ahead. And I still feel like there's so many questions. I don't understand what was it that led us to part ways with ACE? I want to be clear on what the failures were there and how do we make sure that those things are remedied in the next company and maybe staff already knows that. I'm just not clear on that. And I'd like to have, like Member Carey said, answers before where we've gone through it before we're voting on the contract.
Thank you. Member Davis.
Is there someone, and would it be appropriate for this meeting to have someone share some of that information with us? And to note also, we had 2 applicants, is that right? So it's, you know, there's not a lot of people that want to do this, and the the company that was doing it prior didn't want to do it again. I mean, it's the first in the nation. This is like, you know, and even when you listen to our legislators, they say in other states, 80% of these reimbursements are a payment to a private school. Well, in this state, 80% of the reimbursements are like thousands of little reimbursements that you have to vet and evaluate. And we're trying to figure out data on who's enrolled where. And it's very complicated. So anyway, that's a long piece, but I'm just wondering if someone is here that could help us to understand why this choice, and I know there's a timeliness to this too, because we've got parents who are really upset, and our poor parent liaison got 125 emails just last night with parents who are concerned and stressed and worried. So I don't want to like put it off for another 2 months or month, but I want to hear from people to get some of these questions answered also.
I'm going to jump in at this point. I've been waiting, just hearing some thoughts. Member Hall, keep that light on. I'm not forgetting about you. Okay. I know that Scott Jones has been involved in this. I know that he's been doing what he can to satisfy the legislature. At the same time, work with families. Remember that we were directed to do this or to get a vendor, right? And so I would love to see us get a vendor and then say, good luck. Now, you're right, Utah is very unique. We don't, I mean, we have thousands of private schools called homeschooled, right? And so it has been a nightmare. The previous vendor was not ready for it. And I'll tell you right now, I doubt that this new vendor will be, or the other one that applied. I think we're going to run into these same issues. But that's not the point here. The point is, would it be helpful? And hopefully, Mike, can you speak to these things, or do we need to wait for tomorrow and hope that Scott feels better? Scott's getting online, but we have a hard stop in, we have a hard stop in 7 minutes. Scott, how concise can you be?
Well,
I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. So sorry. What's the question, sir? Just real quick.
Well, no, you're good. Let me just say there's some concerns about voting to approve this new vendor. And I think the main concerns are not necessarily with the vendor itself. One of the concerns, some of the concerns are, but the main concern is the board doesn't feel like we have the information to make a good decision here. There's questions about why we went away from ACE, and why we would go with somebody else. What are they going to do different? What are they going to do better? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the recent allegation issues that Odyssey has had, is that what you're asking, Member Carey? Yeah, yeah. Does that help, Scott?
Yeah. So just real quick, sir, board members, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, Scott Jones. As it relates specifically to the reasons why we moved away from the previous vendor, and again, I just need to remind everyone and the public that the vendor had an opportunity to reapply. It was the complexity of the program and then the new law that came out of the session under HB 455 necessitated another look. I think I heard earlier before YouTube kind of went in and out that I think we all agree the complexity of this program is probably the most in the nation, if not, or or right up there. As it relates specifically to the yeah, so I want to emphasize that it was open. It was an open solicitation. There, we just needed to make sure to reset. So the decision of why the other vendor or why the previous vendor didn't apply is on them. It's that was their decision. So as it relates specifically to allegations, we've looked at those allegations. I'm not aware of a recent allegation. I might not have heard board member Carey. I'm aware of the situation in Idaho. We received both sides on that. I visited, I have both sides in writing if the board feels like both sides of that particular situation in Idaho, if the board feels like it would benefit you to see the response to those allegations of what did or did not occur in Idaho, I can certainly share those with you. But by all indications, this next vendor is set to take the program over. We have a plan for the transition. I don't know, we're required by law to be the contracting entity. We didn't have a lot of bids on this particular program or, this latest process for it. So does that help answer the question, Chair Hymas, or questions?
I think it's valuable information. I don't know if it answers any questions. I do have a light from Member Bogus, so we'll go there. If you'll hang out with us for another minute, Scott.
Sure.
Would Member Hall like to go first? I don't want to jump the line.
Yeah, let me see. Michael, did you have anything to add to what Scott shared? Okay, Member Hall then.
So we understand the gravity of the situation. What happens if we don't vote on this today? I know that there's a deadline, but just maybe, Scott, you can help us out with that. Help us to know what will happen if we don't vote on this today.
Chair Hymas?
Scott, please. Yeah, please.
So your policy is that any contract that is over $100,000 has to be reviewed and approved by you. So if the board doesn't approve the contract, then I would not sign the contract. And so then we do not have a contract in place. Currently, we have the agreement with Ace, who is they're still the current vendor. They're the current vendor through May 16th, or I'm sorry, May 15th. So this contract is, planning around your board meeting here on May 1st. If you don't approve the contract today, then I simply don't sign it, and then we move towards May 15th, where the contract with Ace expires. Does that help answer the
So,
question, Chair Hymas?
Chairman, so what happens to all the families in limbo at that point if there's no contract?
Right, so that would be that would be a pause in the operation. I think that the families, the vendor has done a really good job of gathering, data and information to hand off to the next vendor. So we would just make sure that as we move towards the last day of the current contract with the current vendor, we would make sure to take that data and await further action on the part of the board. Does that help answer the question, Chair Hymas?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Member Bogus?
I would move to postpone this agenda item until a subsequent meeting to be determined by the chairs. If that's tomorrow, great. If that is at a special meeting, that's fine with me, but I would just move that we postpone this agenda item to a subsequent board meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to push to a subsequent meeting. If it's up to me, I'd say we address this tomorrow, but it is up to me. Let's address it tomorrow in our carryover business. Member Carey?
I was just going to make a substitute motion that it be listed for tomorrow, because I think Board Member Hall brings up a good point. There are lots of people waiting on this decision, and I'm hoping that we can get some of these concerns answered between today and tomorrow. To the extent that it's not, you still have the option of voting against it, but I think it allows us to get closer to the finish line, if not cross it. So my substitute motion would be that we postpone this till tomorrow.
There is a possibility that if we move to adjourn, this will naturally fall to tomorrow's carryover business. So I would seek a final motion. Member Earl?
Motion, we adjourn?
We still have.
We do, and that would come with it as well, right? So items 3 and 4 were pulled. We're discussing 4. 3 and 4 will naturally carry over. We have a motion to adjourn. It's now debatable. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thanks. We're adjourned. Oh, with one opposition, Molly.